The extended project qualification is a project that students can complete usually when they're doing their A-levels. It is worth half an A-level in UCAS points to them, and usually students do it because they are interested in a subject, they want to investigate a topic or write an argument about it. They can also do an artifact, actually build something, often for arts or engineering students, or they can do a performance, usually for students who do music or drama. And they write a report on that. They learn a lot of academic skills like referencing and sort of proper writing styles, and it's essentially to prepare them for university, because this is what they would be doing once they are at university, writing their dissertations and theses. So the expectations on the students are quite high. The project is required to be relatively independent, where essentially the guidance is that there's 120 hours in total. 40 of those approximately would be taught, and 80 of those would be the student working independently, obviously based on the guidance of the teachers, the supervisors, but doing their own reading, doing their own writing. The end deliverable of an EPQ is usually the actual report that the student writes. For the sort of artsy, music-based, engineering-based projects, it can be the actual product itself, but even with that they have to write a report. And then they're graded in sort of 4 main objectives: managing the project, using resources, developing the project, and actually writing up their findings and then evaluating. So there's like a couple of boxes that they have to tick, but overall is the quality of both the management of the project, the evaluation of the project, and the project itself, which is very important for the students to realize, since you could have a fantastic A-star level project, but if you don't have the management, you don't have the evaluation to it, you're going to maybe get a B at best. So it's very important that they learn about how to write these projects and how to manage these sort of essentially university level projects as part of the EPQ, and that's largely what they're evaluated on. So usually when students do the EPQ in their schools, it takes maybe a year. They could do it in like half a year, 3 months if they're dedicated and if they have the time. Some students might take 2 years. What we're doing here is we're trying to help students do it within 4 weeks, which is an extremely ambitious window. But the main goal really of the program is to give them all the skills that they need to provide them with the sort of structured time in which they can do their EPQ, where they have a lot of self-study hours, where I'm usually sitting in the room and answering queries and questions, but they're doing all that independent work. And the main task for us is to get them as far through the EPQ as we can, and then they can take it home with them. They can do rewrites, they can do edits, they can do the presentation a bit later on online instead of in person, and submit the EPQ by the deadline, which would be for us probably mid-December. The EPQ is really valuable for students applying to universities. Some universities base their offers on UCAS points. If you get an A-star, the EPQ gets you 28 UCAS points. Even when they don't use UCAS points, some universities will reduce offer for an A or A-star EPQ. So instead of, say, A-star AA, they tell you, oh, you can get 3 A's plus an A or A-star in an EPQ, and that's going to be meeting your offer. So the universities value the EPQs a lot. They often advise students to write about them in the personal statement. For Cambridge and Oxford, they can discuss them in the interviews, so that the student is able to show them how dedicated they are, how motivated they are, the skills that they've gained, and how they're sort of able to work with academic research, which is essentially what these top universities are looking for. They want students who are able to do this, who are able to engage with academic resources, who are able to inquire about these different topics, do their own research, come up with their own conclusions, argue for those conclusions, and those are all the things that the EPQ teaches them.